Hi, this is Skinny Dyck, and you're listening to the Northern Report with Sean Burns.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, friends. Welcome to the Northern Report podcast. I am your host, Sean Burns, from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and I'm coming right at you tonight from Lethbridge, Alberta. A fitting location, to be sure, as the Windy City here in the southern region of the province is where today's guest hangs his hats, hits the ball, and runs the bases. I'm proud to finally welcome top quality songwriter and steel guitarist, my good friend Ryan Skinny Dyck, onto the show. We spoke about a variety of things, not limited to his new EP, Palace Waiting, that's being released this Friday. Friends, the moon is shining bright into room 408 of the Quality Inn on this chilly September evening, and I'll thank Nancy, the general manager here at the hotel, for always taking special care of me when I roll through Lethbridge. Also spent some time making permanent changes to my body with my pal Brendan Brown at Nectar Fine Tattooing in downtown Lethbridge this evening as I'm breezing through from one show to another. Good folks here in LA. A reminder to our friends, fans, and enemies in Winnipeg, Manitoba, that tickets are available now on Eventbrite for my show at the Times Changed High and Lonesome Club on Saturday, September 24th. Sean Burns and Lost Country will be joined by Carter Felker in from Calgary, Alberta, to open the show, making his Winnipeg debut. Tickets are also available for the show Sunday, September 25th at the T&A Garage, a dynamite house concert venue in a Winnipeg neighborhood that is well beyond my tax bracket. Grant Seamus and I will open that show as a duo, warming up the stage for Carter Felker. I'll have a couple more Winnipeg dates in December, but in the between time, my fill-in role on the standing up and sideways bass guitars for Cor Blund and the Hurtin' Albertans has blossomed into a full-time position with the group, and we're going to be embarking on another lengthy tour of the U.S. for 7 weeks over October and November. Dates and tickets can be found at corblund.com. It's been 4 months since my last episode of the podcast, one that featured the aforementioned Carter Felker. Carter was also the subject of my most recent and what was my final contribution to the Honky-Tonk Times magazine with the Northern Report column. I departed on good terms, and I wish them all the best moving forward. It's been a wild ride since that last time we spoke. Sarah Lynn and I welcomed our baby daughter Violet Moon into the world on July 26th. My dad leave came to an end this week, and I'm back out here and after it. Happy to bring you today's conversation with Skinny, and full disclosure, I'll say it's a little bit different than any of the previous episodes to date, as Ryan and I are good pals. You know, he's played on 4 of my albums, done a healthy amount of touring as steel guitarist for Lost Country, and in duo shows with me over the last handful of years. It's a dry, sarcastic little window into a pair of good friends challenging and critiquing one another. Thanks for tuning in, folks, and I hope that you're going to enjoy my chat today with Skinny Dyck. Twang savant Skinny Dyck has put on weight since his 2020 debut LP, Get to Know Lonesome. A delight to fans of traditional country music, but in equal measure with an alternative leading audience. Getting his start on the scene over 10 years ago as part of a band called Treeline that, after some changes, eventually settled into the role as backing band for Alberta's gutsy honky-tonk queen, Shayla Miller. Skinny's live and studio session credits as a songwriter and or steel guitarist include albums from Shayla, Marielle Buckley, The Millwrights, Sean Burns and Lost Country, and others. He spearheaded the 2017 compilation record 21 Nighters that shone a light on municipal and regional artists from across Western Canada. But now, the spotlight is firmly set on this bright Mennonite boy from Coaldale, Alberta, who's making waves here at home and abroad with his brand of country music. Recorded and produced in Texas by the great Billy Horton, Skinny makes strides on his latest EP, Palace Waiting, which is out this Friday, September 16th on Sound Asleep Records. The album includes In on the Upswing and TV Blue, both previously released as a 7-inch single earlier this year. Folks, stick around, because at the conclusion of our chat, we're going to debut a cut from the upcoming EP. That's right, folks. Another episode and another world premiere track unveiling right here on the humble Northern Report podcast. As Tim Huss once said, keep working, Burnsy. You'll get there someday.
Hello?
What's going on, pal?
Hey, not much. How are you?
Good. What? You're all good. You're good to do this.
Yeah, I'm good. Please proceed.
Kids are in bed?
No.
Oh, really?
No.
Hectic.
Maybe one halfway.
As a card-carrying member of the real world now, I can say, like, I can have more patience with people. Like, yeah, go ahead, take a few minutes.
Yeah, and I looked forward to this day.
Did you really, though?
I knew it would come, so I was never too impatient. But I did look forward.
To like a slight humbling for me?
Well, and I think you yourself knew it was coming too, and knew that there would be this change, you know.
I think I committed to other huge changes in my life and just accepted them. So this was a little easier, maybe. I don't think that I said congratulations on the album. I'm not sure if I said that. I've told you all the things I didn't like about it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I thought you were going to be more forthcoming. I didn't hear too much from you.
You thought I was going to give you more shit.
I hoped so.
I think it's really good. No shitting you. And I'm not sure if I said congratulations on the album, but I wanted to say congratulations on the album.
Well, thanks, my friend. I'm calling it an EP, but you can proceed as you like.
Is it okay if I tell the vast listenership here that you suggested an EP is not a full artistic effort, and that's why it's only on CD and digital?
Yeah. Well, I mean, regardless of the format, the answer to the first statement is yes. And yeah.
Okay, then why 8 songs? What's the deal with that? Because I told you that bothered me, and I think I have to bring it up.
So, well, there are 6 songs on the EP, technically, plus 2 bonus songs. It's served to confuse a few folks already. But and with respect to that, I like this idea of including something special on one particular format or whatever, or something exclusive. I like that. I think it was kind of an old school thing, or at least in the streaming world today. It's nice to offer something to the people that are still after the physical formats. So the bonus tracks aren't going to be available on the streaming platforms. That's correct. That would be. Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't? Okay.
No, I mean, to be fair, I didn't fully investigate the Google Drive that you sent. I just listened. I just told you I need to listen to it 5 times before we talk.
Yeah, no, you're operating unlimited intel.
That makes a lot of sense. Now I look like a real, I mean, I will admit, this is the most underprepared I've come into an interview, because based on the nature of our relationship, it's appalling that it's taken 30 episodes to get you to agree to have a conversation with me. But I thought, I know the answer to so many of the questions that I would normally ask, that I could just kind of go in and we could just, have a natural conversation about the record.
Yeah, I think that would play out better than the preconceived thing. And yeah.
Okay, so with the 8 songs, with another thing I want to talk about is the running order. Because so you released the 7-inch, the singles, which In on the Upswing and TV Blue, correct?
Yes.
Great video for TV Blue, by the way. Like, I thought that was sort of really a perfect presentation of the song. That's Little Jack Films in Saskatchewan?
Yes.
How did that happen, you working with him, and how much of that was sort of detailed before you guys shot the video? Like, was this your idea, his vision? Was it a collaboration?
Well, I'll let you in on something. We filmed that music video twice. You already know this. We tried to make it in Edmonton, and then I guess I don't know what we'll call it, but it was a mishap of sorts that led to a file being destroyed.
Okay.
which sounds pretty funny in the digital age we live in.
No doubt.
So whatever. We ended up having to shoot this again at a different location. I think it was kind of a joint effort. Some of my ideas and some of his. And he shoots some stuff on his VHS camera, and of course I thought, well, that's kind of silly. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he does good work.
Yeah, he does some nice stuff, and he's pretty soft-spoken and listens, and, nothing felt too contrived, and then it was over.
What was the Dirtbag Motel location that served as location?
That's the Sunset Motel on Highway 3 in Fort Macleod, Alberta.
Your stomping grounds.
Yeah, that's in the neighborhood.
I will say that if it was someone else, I might be a little suspicious, but having spent time with you on the road and seeing the places that you actually choose to bed down in for an evening, it seemed fitting because you're not too fussy. You kind of want the experience, I guess.
I'm willing to tolerate some suffering in the spirit of experience and spontaneity. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I won't go as far, and that's changed. I've gotten a little more picky as people do as they age. I won't stay in the flea infested whatever joint anymore. But there were days where
not even that long ago.
Not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
Yeah.
On TV Blue, there's a line about the glow of the TV. What's the line? I meant to write this down.
Well, on the course.
Yeah.
I'll paint the walls so they glow like they used to do. TV Blue.
Do you remember forcibly making me to co-write songs with you when we were on a duo tour in northern British Columbia?
Yeah, and I believe that I lifted this line.
Thank you.
We haven't had this discussion, but
no.
I'm not sure if it's verbatim, but it was certainly this in that. Yeah, I lifted it, bro.
In our song, Second Time Around, if you'll recall, which I think is a good country music song. We used the blue glow of the TV, and that was your line. So you pilfered your own line. Yeah, but those can live together. Those. Yeah, well, one day I'm gonna record that song, and some enthusiastic loser 30 years from now might put it together that we've kind of crossed paths there, and I don't want anyone to suggest that I'm ripping you off. Let the record reflect that this is how it happened. It's your line, anyways. Okay, so you were forcibly making me co-write songs with you, and we had 3 or 4. There was some lines here and there, like that I gave you or you gave me, and as I recall, this was all a result of you being in this songwriting club. You want to talk about that for a little bit, and how that sort of got you motivated to write more consistently? Yeah, the club you speak of is now, I guess we're probably coming on about 4 years of doing this, where we submit a song every month or some semblance of a song, and the threshold for what constitutes a song is quite low. But you hold yourself to account, and the point is that you go about a writing exercise, a song, go down the journey of a song every month, and have to submit something by midnight on the first day in the time zone you're in. Okay. And know that, there's been a dispute or two. Anyways, it's been so great for me because it's just, as I say, it's made me, keep a rhythm with songwriting not just rely on the inspiration when it. Right. Did you need that? Did you need that to in order to write the songs? Because it seems like you're a pretty prolific guy, and your songs are really smart, and you're a smart guy. I always thought you just wrote songs often. Well,
No, not like in the last sort of 5 years before I kind of started on this artist solo path, whatever I'm calling it now.
Mm-hmm.
So no, it's been the perfect sort of jolt to keep me doing it, and a lot of the songs both on this EP and Get to Know Lonesome record, my first one, are from that club submissions. You submit half a song and maybe get a little feedback from it's just a few friends of mine that are in the thing, and if you don't submit, you have to pay $100 and know that provision is enforced.
What happens to the money at the end of the year?
The money's distributed amongst the membership to do with as they choose.
Okay, well, that's fair.
We do have an annual general meeting / summer social where I expect that we more than allocate, the liquor order at least, probably. Anyways,
I can't talk about it. I can't talk about what we do with the money.
The summer social, yeah.
I'm glad you brought up your sort of transition into this solo artist thing, because it's such a huge part of your story, I guess, would be all the sideman jobs you've done over the years. And it's something I did want to bring up too. It wasn't essential. It's not on my list. I did write a list, by the way, of things.
Yes. Oh, you do? Yeah.
Yeah, I did. And I was I was wondering, obviously you play with Shayla Miller an awful lot, and I guess that would remain to be your only side playing gig at the moment, correct?
Yeah, that's I've kind of said recently that's sort of I'm going to keep it to my thing and her thing, and she's been pretty busy, especially in this last year.
Yeah.
And that's enough, It's like it wasn't so long ago where I would just overcommit myself, and I guess like so many people, I would still suggest that that's the best approach if you want to be a musician, is to take almost everything, at least at the start, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the school I attended, but it just, it was too much, and now I'm in a position where, just do what I want, I guess.
What took you so long? Because you've been writing songs for a long time, and some of your older songs are still really strong, and I'm sure you probably play some of them in your show still. But what took you so long to finally sort of do this and want to be your own act?
I just did it because of COVID, not whatever. So it was just an opportunity came up, and then I just did it, and kept going with it.
So you took, because I recall you saying like, I'm gonna make this record in my living room. This is Get to Know Lonesome.
Yes.
And there's no gigs. There's nothing going on. It's the height of the pandemic, and you get together with your buddy Evan Yushchenko, correct?
Yeah, Evan and I. Yeah, that was in like March of 2020, and things were just breaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we were in there for 5-6 days or whatever, and it was just such early times of the pandemic, whatever. You didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and did that. And then, it was kind of a full year before I could play any shows or anything.
But you just had those songs kicking around, or had you been considering making a record at all on as your own name?
I think maybe a little bit. And I probably talked to you about it at the time too. And just kind of, when it might do this, might do that. And it was just an opportunity that availed itself, and we got her done.
With the writing of the tunes, and I guess especially if you're under the gun, and knowing you, I mean, with all due respect, you probably wait till the very last minute before you craft the song that you're sending in to the other members of this club. Am I right to think that? Oh
yeah, it's usually the night of the first. Sometimes it's not till I see an email at like 9 from the first guy submitting. I'm like, oh shit, it's the first. I kid you not. That, yeah.
And do you have like a list, like a list of ideas, of notes, of voice memos, or do you ever just sit down and go cold?
I've always got something. Like I open up the Bible like anyone else, whether that's on the phone or a notebook, and start to work through something. I usually sit down with a guitar like every other, and get through something. And then oftentimes the way things will work is, okay, for the next month or whatever month down the road, finish that song, and that constitutes a valid submission.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a real legal certainty that and we put things to the test, and there is a formal appeal provision, if someone wants to challenge another member's song.
The bonus tracks on the new record are deadly. The Porter Wagner cover really came out.
Do you like that?
Oh man, that came out so great. And and the playing on the record is fantastic. Your steel playing is really great, man. And it's like it's right in your face. This not what are you calling it? It's not lo-fi. It's mid-fi. Is that what you're referring to this as?
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty slick. Some of it's really slick. Like I read one of the reviews where someone said something about Billy Sherrill style production, and I mean,
that was cool. I read that too.
Getting that off of Cutting Off All Ties was what I sort of tied that one to.
Right. Yeah.
But on the bonus tracks, the line I wanted to bring up, which the first time I heard it, I told you I need to listen to the record front to back like at least 5 times. I was making supper or something.
I mean, kudos to you that you actually do that.
It's only 8 songs, so it didn't take that long.
Well, I know, but yeah.
I'm still drinking mercilessly, but it holds no power over me. I was like, it's such a you line, and I fucking just laughed out loud in the kitchen.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
I try to evoke a little playfulness or a little, if I'm doing anything right, I'm slipping in the odd little poetic, sleight of hand or whatever like that. That's the stuff that I like in songwriting. Oftentimes,
Mm-hmm.
as much as I like just, straight ahead, shake your perm, good country. When it comes to songwriters, I like the ones that do that little. The devious and little playful things or whatever.
Hey, Who's Counting is another one I wanted to talk to you about. It's the first track on the album.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, kind of weird. Hey, and I read this.
So unsettling.
I know. Not that there's many reviews, but I read something the other day that called it a plodder.
Oh, that song?
Yeah, it was a British review. Opens with a plodder, and I just love that.
I thought for sure it would open with one of the songs, from the 7-inch single, like "In on the Upswing." I'm like, I was jokingly, but I was like, why doesn't the fucking record start with this one? This is exactly what it should start with. And then and then it's like, it starts with this other one, and I really, really like it, but I'm unsettled. It sounds so sad to me.
It's a little odd, hey, and that's what I think. I guess speaking of this bunch of songs, generally, and as to why I went with an EP, because we recorded 10 songs actually.
Okay.
Over for these sessions, and I felt like there wasn't enough sort of cohesion. There wasn't enough of a common thread, and I get whatever that means, whether it's the sonics or the style,
mm-hmm.
but I felt like there wasn't enough to really tie the whole group together into an album, because a good album, it has, that's what maybe separates a good album from just an album. Well, okay, it's 10 songs, that's an album. Well, a good album has that whatever magic that makes it, it just makes sense as a grouping, all the songs. And I sort of felt like with this batch that I didn't have that, and maybe that's why there's a few kind of, there's a couple kind of traditional country tunes like the Upswing song and Right There on the Vine, and then there's these other ones like Hey, Who's Counting is kind of this moody, I don't know, plodder.
Well, and I think this is it's probably just me. The reason that I feel like that there's this like sadness to the song. It's not necessarily all the lyrics, but there is one lyric that reminds me of time and a place and a person, and it's a sad situation. So are we counting pints? Is this a song about drinking? Are we counting? Are we counting down the hours until the guy kills himself? Like I'm seriously wondering.
Well,
respectfully, because I really like the song. Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'll reserve my answer. I think I like that it's ambiguous enough that it's not quite certain as to what the protagonist is counting. Maybe it's Yeah, I don't know. I like that about it. That's generally what I sometimes try to go for in my writing
Mm-hmm.
is enough ambiguity that there's enough appreciable paths that the listener can go down, in their interpretation.
Skinny Dyck is a mysterious country singer.
Well, I like to have, I'm a bit of a private person, I guess.
Sure.
I like to remain behind the veil. I like some translucence.
Yeah, they're not like you're not like laying it all out there with personal stuff in the material.
Well, but I mean, sometimes I feel like I completely reveal myself in the lyrics.
Mm-hmm. Give me an example, if you're willing.
Well, maybe that's more in the last record. It's like the title track, "Get to Know Lonesome." I mean, that was a period where, those songs. I was going through stuff that I think was probably pretty clear in the batch that. Having times, yeah. Whereas with these, and some of the stuff, and again, I don't know. It's odd because we recorded 10 songs and here's 6.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not because I didn't like all of them. Some of them I didn't like as much, but I again just felt that there was a group that it didn't warrant an album. It didn't get the gold star that's needed. That's the criteria to be an album.
Okay.
That's me just being a little hard on myself, but
Sure.
that's how I like to be.
Yeah, it's better than you think it is. Like I'm not even just speaking as your friend.
Sure.
Like I
sure.
really do think that. And will those other 2 songs that didn't make the cut at all? Are you going to just hold on to that stuff, or is that something that you would ever let people hear or release?
No, they're just on the CDs.
No, the 2 that like there's 8.
Yeah.
But the other 2, the other 2.
Oh, the additional 2.
Yeah,
right, okay.
Yeah, the 2 that are
okay.
Yeah.
So no, probably not.
Okay,
probably not.
Those just didn't do it for you.
Maybe in the estate.
Okay. Well, you guys had great success with recording and releasing "Get to Know Lonesome." Like you and Evan really worked well together, and you had some experience playing in Shayla's band together before, I guess. But like, what was it about him that made you want to be sure to include him in recording that album?
Well, and you know what it was, now come to think of it, is that we made that record with Shayla the month before.
Oh.
And so we had kind of reconnected. I mean, we're old friends, but we had reconnected a bit.
Okay.
And it just played out that way.
And you said, "Hey, come over." He had, you guys recorded it to some old tape machine, correct?
Yeah, he's had an 8-track machine that we recorded it to.
What was the machine? Someone's going to want to know.
It's a Tascam 388.
And you guys just made it, just you and him. There was like Shayla maybe sang on some stuff, or maybe did Tyler Bird sing on there too?
No, Shayla sang on 2, I believe, and that was it.
And that was it, just in-house, literally in your living room, the place where I have slept tons of times.
Totally, yeah.
Where I've watched TV with your kids.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Spot.
Okay, that's the spot. So you put the record out. It's really great country record. And then there's this song on there called "Dreamin'," which is like totally stands out in a way, like way more standing out on that record than say like Jackson Hole or "Hey, Who's Counting Des" on the new one.
Okay, yeah. See, that's interesting and I don't disagree, but I guess I just felt like, or looking back and thinking about that song in the context of the batch of songs on "Get to Know Lonesome," that it would just had an ability to sort of connect the songs together. Maybe that's more I'm just speaking emotionally, and that's my own limited vantage point, because of course I authored the songs.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know you, so I can hear a song and or hear some lines and know that, okay, that's Ryan's song, like that's you. But people who don't know you might say, where does this song come from in this batch of tunes? But the reason I want to bring it up, it's like at the time of our conversation here, you're coming in on 3 million streams on that song, which is a lot more than your second place song.
Oh, it sure is.
No. But I mean, did you, when you guys were recording this record, that first record, did that occur to you like this would be the one that had legs?
No, not really. I just knew it was kind of different. It was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And you know what? It was the one kind of old song of that batch. All the others were kind of fresh. and that was the one older song that I kind of finished, shortly in advance of that recording.
Even playback, like during none of the process of writing or recording playback, did you say to yourself, this is the one? Like, I feel like you definitely knew there was something to that one, because I remember you sent that might have been one of the first ones you sent to me anyways.
Okay, well, it did stick out, and maybe that's why I felt like sending it, because I knew it was kind of cool because it was different.
Okay. Yeah, and it's got a lot of love.
It's got a lot of love, and like you say, it's like, well, people probably hear that song and then they listen to the rest of the stuff. They're like, oh, weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess I don't know that, but because, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No, it fucking doesn't.
It doesn't really matter.
So you obviously, you really dug working with Evan and with what Evan brings to the table, but for Palace Waiting, you go down to Texas to Billy Horton's place and you bring Evan along.
Yeah, I guess, there's been a few points in our friendship where we're eating the same sandwiches. We're just on the same wavelength.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of worked the first time around. And I thought, in the myriad of decision making that came about, when I was deciding what to do with this second thing, I thought, well, I should bring Evan along. That makes sense. I don't want to go down there alone. Why am I even going down there? If I'm going to go, I'm going to bring a friend.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What made you decide to go to Billy's, and was he cool with you bringing someone down?
Yeah. Well, it was funny. I mean, our conversations, as things go, the first conversations are just feeling each other out. And I guess, backing up, I wanted to work with him after hearing the one particular Charlie Crockett record, actually. Oh God, I can't even think of the name of it now.
The James Hand Trib?
No, the one before. You'll look it up while we're talking. And I just felt like the sounds on that thing, it was just had the right amount of, openness and airiness and raw sounding kind of. I just love the sound of it. It sounded like the records in some way, it sounded like the records that I love from the 60s and that I know you love too.
Yeah.
And of course, those guys are scholars of that stuff down there, especially, I came to learn that intimately as I got to know Billy. But that's what brought me to him in the first place. And it was great getting to know him because there's no website. There's no Facebook, Instagram page. There's nothing, right? Mm-hmm. Well, maybe there's a little thing, but it's not, there's no, actual real presence. You have no clue what you're getting. So it was a couple phone calls and I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm not really getting a huge read from this guy. Instead, he listened to the first record and he said it was something so modest. He's hilarious. He's such you have to earn your compliments from him. And I like that, of course.
Oh yeah.
And he said something like, it was like, I don't even know if the word good came out. And so some of that maybe is what, and there's some other charming things, and I don't know what pushed me over the edge eventually, but I'm like, okay, yeah, we're doing it. And I knew there was risk and stuff, but of course you have to take risks in this biz and being an artist.
Was it the Valley?
Yes, the Valley.
The Valley.
Yes.
So you love the way that record sounds, and I got to find the guy that made this record to make my record.
Yeah, I thought, well,
move.
I think Evan and I maybe went down that rabbit hole one night listening to it. It's like, okay, let's look why don't we do this? But yeah, classic move, right?
Yeah,
look him up in the phone book. Here we go.
So what did, like, Evan played bass and drums on Get to Know Lonesome and some guitar, right?
Yeah.
So what was his role going down to Texas into this new, legendary territory? Like, what was the plan? You were going to play steel and guitar?
And maybe, it wasn't even very firm. And we were, that was thrown in our face the first day when we met Billy. He said, so speaking to Evan, we just pulled up to his place, which is about a half hour outside of Austin. He's got a couple acres and some horses, kind of rustic thing. and hi, a couple shake hands. Oh, so you're gonna play bass? And Evan's like, well, I think so. And Billy kind of looks at him and looks at me like, what the, you know?
Yeah.
It was kind of funny moment. But that's sort of that's how we came into it. But he did end up playing the bass.
Evan played bass.
He played a bass and a little bit of guitar. Billy overdubbed some upright. Billy's upright player, great upright player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who else is on there playing lead guitar and playing drums?
Jay Moller's playing drums.
Uh-huh.
He's had a nice time getting to know him.
Great drummer.
Great drummer. Yeah. Played with the Thunderbirds for years and a whole host of others.
And who's picking on right there on the vine? That's specifically who I'm.
Okay, his name is Dave Biller. I'm pretty sure it's Dave. I'm almost positive. Session guy. He did that while we were there. I might have been getting sandwiches during that session. I can't remember, but
it's like Roy Nichols meets a little bit of Red Volkart. It gives it a real Strangers vibe. So there's great playing. There's really great playing. There's great interplay. There's some keys on there, some organ maybe. There's you playing a lot of great steel and some really great lead guitar playing. How much of this shit is worked out in your mind or between you and Evan before you get down there, and how much of it is Billy sort of telling you guys how it's going to go?
Well, it's probably I'd say like 90% Billy, and he's a guy that he's a staunch traditionalist, and he knows the records that you and I love, like pretty inside and out, and a million others. And it was an interesting sort of ongoing conversation about traditionalism and boundaries, and his approach oftentimes was well, you're doing it like this, right? I mean, you got to do it. Why wouldn't you do it like this? What's wrong with, and it might, what's wrong with you might come next or something like that. Which was great. And he's he wasn't cracking a smile when he was saying that oftentimes. So I was like, all right, yeah, no, we're doing it this way. And that's why you hire a producer, I guess, right? But
totally.
That was this project. It was a lot of those decisions, his direction, and that's cool, right? Like, for example, in right there on the Vine, I was doing this, playing it live or demoing it or whatever beforehand, and I was doing this kickoff on the steel that was a figure that never reoccurred in the song.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even realize that. I thought, this is this thing I do. It's like, what, I do it at the front and the back, and it's over. And he said, well, why on earth would you do that? The listener is never brought back to this thing, and so he had some of this very pragmatic sort of, production, his methodology. We stuck with it.
Was it the first time you worked with somebody like that, who was like the clear sort of decision maker, bus driver? Even on your
Yes.
on other sessions when you were just playing steel for someone?
Oh, I guess not. I mean, on some sessions that I've worked on, there's been, a producer with a very pointed and clear direction of what they wanted. But it wasn't, I felt like, so kind of guided by an aesthetic. It was just their preference, right? Whereas this with Billy it wasn't just because it didn't feel like this is just because it was always done this way, or this is how Grady Martin would have done it. It's like, it was because this is the school that this type of music comes from, and it has boundaries, and it has, the work within limits, and then it has the sweet spot, and let's go for that sweet spot or whatever, if that makes sense.
Would you in the future want to do something where you're kind of taking the lead as a producer, or do you dig that sort of that process of having someone sort of be the big brother?
Well, I think I would be happy to do it again, and now having the benefit of some experience with that type of approach, I'd be better equipped for success. But I think in the next thing I do, I'd probably be wanting to steer the horses a little more myself.
I think it's great that you did this, went down there, like found this person, went down there and had some great players playing on the record. Like it's really good playing on Get to Know Lonesome, but it's a step up going down there and hanging with those real dudes.
Yeah, totally. And it's
and yeah, like a lot of people would have just sort of been content doing the same thing again, or like, you know, or attempting to do the same thing again, and you haven't done that here. And that's another reason why I think it stands out to me as like a little bit of a step up overall.
Yeah, and that's great. And I don't want to begin repeating myself, and you know, maybe the next thing I do is in a bedroom again. Mm-hmm. But it'll be different in some ways. So I think this was a cool experience, and yeah.
The record comes out on Friday, September 16th, and it's being released by some folks in Sweden. You want to tell me about this label and how you got hooked up with these guys?
Yeah, so he's just a small label. His name's Jurker Emanuelsson. And he runs a thing called Sound Asleep Records, and he approached me to put a song on a compilation from Get to Know Lonesome, you know, whatever, after 2020, 2021. And then we started the conversation about what's coming next, and he expressed some interest, and then here we are now. He's helped put this thing out, which I'm very grateful for. It's had gotten some head nods over in Europe, which I'm sure it wouldn't have without him.
So he's pushing it across Europe and across Scandinavia and stuff for you guys.
Yeah.
That's great. And you've got some dates coming up over there too in September in Germany and Sweden.
Yeah, we're doing the Reeperbahn Fest in Hamburg, and then just stringing a few on after that, going up to Sweden to meet him really, and then hoping to get back there next year.
It's not as glorious, and the drives are a lot longer, but are you going to tour this record across Canada at all?
Well, we're going to do a Western Canadian thing in November, and by that I guess I mean Alberta, BC, and then beyond that I don't have plans to do too much else. I know I would be remiss if I didn't make it out to Winnipeg, you know, in the next 12 months at least. Get out there once.
Yeah, I mean, is it something that you miss doing though? I mean, I know you didn't, like, I guess, you know, probably did a good healthy amount of touring with me the last number of years. Would have been like semi-steady, kind of going out and doing more of that.
Yeah.
Is that something that you miss doing? Like, I mean, I know there's some pretty good infrastructure in Alberta where you live for live music and for festivals and stuff like that, and you're getting some attention out there. But like, do you miss the grind of going out there and doing it?
Yeah, and part of that is the difference between being a side guy and an artist, which you know well. Mm-hmm. And you know, and as you know, the benefit of being a side guy teaches you so much about how to be an artist. I feel it really can help you. But yeah, I miss you know, for sure, just going for it and just playing in that role as a steel player or whatever.
It's a real unique thing that you're the steel player fronting the band. I know you're playing some guitar too, but it's like that's gotta turn some heads, man, big time. It's like, oh, the steel, he's a steel player and he's sort of running the band. I don't know of many other people out there that have done that over the years.
Well, shit, I feel like I almost regret that. It's like, well, and it started with when I was playing a few shows after I did this record. It's like, well, 4-piece band. There's so much steel on the recordings.
It has to be there.
I kind of got to be there. And then how do I, okay, I guess setting up a second microphone. Here we go. But it's, you know, it's tricky. Not just the performance aspect of it, but logistically bringing both instruments and whatever, and two singing positions.
Yeah. I mean, well, yep. How did you find your way to the steel guitar in the first place? Because I know that I know from talking to you over the years, like that wasn't your first instrument or even the first one that you were out playing with. So how did you find your way to the steel guitar, this impossible instrument to play, and in a short amount of years become quite proficient?
I just found myself quite smitten, you know, at one, and enough so that I made I was just of the mind that I had to get one and bought one. But it was just from listening to the music that that you and I both love, you know.
So how many years ago is this that you pick up the steel guitar?
10 years ago about.
So you must have went really hard, man. Like when you started playing, like you must have been playing all the time.
Yeah, and it was a different time of life where I had all that time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of how you got to get to it. If you got to go for it, and then you got to get on stage and you got to play loud. You got to at least act confident.
You need hours.
You need hours.
You need hours on stage to get it together. Get it together. What are you listening to these days? We haven't talked about this in a while, you know, because a handful of years ago when you were still on the radio, crushing the campus community airwaves with the Chin Up Record Club, really paved the way for my former show, Boots and Saddle. And for a time, we were both on the air doing shows at the same time. And then you moved on a few years before I moved on. Do you miss doing the show?
Yeah, and you know what? And I thought of this at some point recently, where it's like I had been doing the show for whatever it was, 5 or 7 years, and you started. And I think in some ways it was like a weight off my shoulders. I'm like, okay, someone is now playing this music. I can start to let go, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's only part of it, but I think there was some, and I don't know that I realized it at the time.
Yeah.
But I think there's a little truth in that. It's like, okay, now at least there's someone in Canada. I think that's fair to say.
Oh yeah.
I know there's others. There's a small cohort that you and I both know that.
Yeah, and I like those people, and I know who you're talking about, and there's a few of them, and they play some country music, but it's not there. I can't call those country shows in the way that I called mine or yours country shows.
Well, things quickly slide off into Americana at the bottom of the hill, don't they?
Yes. 100%. They've co-opted the steel guitar, and it makes me a little angry.
Yeah, we can't spend too much time.
I don't want to spend too much time on that.
I missed the radio was great. It was fun. It was a lot of learning of a different aspect of the music business.
I had a question about the radio, and then I went off on this tangent about something, and I just asked you if you missed it. I forget what I was going to say, and I'll probably remember.
Oh, what I've been listening to?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because back in those days when we were on the air, I realized recently, after I haven't done the show now for a few months, like that I spent so much time fucking listening to music and digging around on Bandcamp or Instagram or talking to you or Don Stixel or listening to Lawrence Peters' shows, just obsessing and knowing everyone's move and everyone's release and when the record's coming out. And I'm on the PR radio the email list and getting all the stuff, sifting through it.
Getting all the stuff.
The shit. And it's so exhausting. And then once the show gets pretty good, then you're just getting emails all the time. And I'm listening to literally everything that's getting sent to me because I know what it's like to send your music out and get crickets, but like I kind of liked knowing what was going on, but I really am happy not to be spending all that time going through it, you know. So I don't really know what's going on. There's a few records I have saved that I'm going to listen to when I'm on the road and I have some time, but I haven't really listened to anything new since early this year. You got anything for me? I mean.
I'm kind of in that same boat now, and that same experience with being on the forefront, and now I'm way in the back. I listen to a generous amount of basically country music from the '60s, I guess, and the greatest hits record, I guess you could call them, ones that you and I both love. And then, some of the contemporary guys doing the country music thing, whether that's Zephaniah O'Hara or Logan Ledger, or who else can I think of? Some folks like that. But I listen to a lot of this just on the sidelines of country music, singer-songwriter stuff, whether that's Kurt Wagner or Bill Callahan or Cass McCombs, guys like Robbie Fulks and stuff like that. I know you like a lot too. And, I think of some of those guys that are some sort of crafty songwriters. And I think of guys like Lee Hazelwood. I've been listening to Trouble is a Lonesome Town a lot.
I've noticed that
Digging
you're
that
listening to
record.
that. I actually I have a copy of it right behind me that someone lent me a long time ago. And
Oh man,
hasn't
you got
given
to
it
dig
back.
in.
Yeah, I've listened to it a few times. I have to really I have to really dig in, and I haven't had a ton of time lately. But I did say you're talking about like traditional country music, and you've talked a lot about sandwiches lately too. And I noticed that there is a sandwich quote here on your website, but there's also something that says that you are firmly part of a new generation of artists pushing country forward into the 21st century. You're pushing it forward. What does that mean to you? What does that mean? What are you pushing? It's like, because I've had this talk before too. People say you can't just stay stuck in some time frame. You have to it's your responsibility as an artist to push things forward and take these chances. And sometimes I'm like, okay, and other times I'm like, no, like what's wrong with country music 1966? Why are you fucking pushing that forward? Not you, but you know what I mean?
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
no,
And
I know.
I think I get it, but what do you mean? What does this mean?
Well, I'm not sure, as to who wrote that, what they were thinking, but I think for me, it's like those country music forms, when I say that, I mean, the typical changes and typical sort of feels.
Yeah.
That stuff, it's like the fibers of my existence, it's so hard for me. That's where I land more times than not.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess for me, it's the subtle twists on the country conventions, I guess you could say. That's the stuff I like. And I don't know that I always do it, but that's what I think of, and it's mostly, I guess, maybe in a lyrical approach, but sometimes it's in choices in instrumentation, I guess, in parts, and maybe it's adding a couple bars here and there, little things, or landing on a major 7 chord at the end of a song. Something I sometimes like to do. It's little things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you've done a good job at that, I think, and you do a good job at that of I mean, these are undeniably country music songs, like at least most of them anyways. And you do a really good job of that, I'll say. Better than most.
Thanks,
I don't know how you do it. I don't know where these songs come from. Like the most success I had writing was you forcing me to sit with you and kind of go through things and be critical without being, precious about it. But I have a hard time doing it, and I don't know where they come from for you, and these one-liners that you're really good at sort of shooting out.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, we had a nice rhythm sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what it's about. I have one other friend that I co-write with that, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Granzo is his name, and it's just being comfortable with the person, and what it does too is often ends up it's you detaching yourself from the so typical first person narrative approach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that can be very good for me. It's like in songs, it's so often that and this is the beauty of good songs, is that you feel like you connect or understand the person that's authoring them through the lyrics. You really feel what they're saying. But I, at least in recent years, have been enjoying, being a little detached, writing, more of a story-like approach, less narratives, more just little non sequiturs or whatever, phrases that I think sound good,
Mm-hmm.
not because it connects a long literal thing.
It's like Todd Snyder says something like the lyrics in these songs aren't necessarily my opinion; they just rhymed.
Yeah, sure. That's an example of it for sure.
Are you doing co-writing stuff these days? Like, I know we haven't done anything in quite a long time on it, but I know you and Mike still do some, right?
Yeah, we sometimes do, and sometimes it's works so great because when you're stuck on a song, I know I have someone that, well, I like this enough to keep at it. Here you go.
Yeah.
Do
you got a lot on the go? Do you got a lot on the go right now?
I got a few. I kind of got a batch I'm putting together. And I think I told you, but I want to make a record, like kind of a more of a fun record, more of just kind of on the nose, shake your perm, really goes over at the club or whatever. I've got some of those songs, and I want to do a record like that.
Something that I haven't seen in almost any of the press or almost anywhere lately, and I mean, I guess it's 5 or 6 years ago, but you did the compilation record, Skinny Dyck and Friends, the 21 Nighters, which I thought was a great idea, and really, really cool. You sort of shine a light on all these artists, and then you just crack a pint right there.
Yeah.
What kind?
It's a nude gin soda.
People love that shit these days. I see them everywhere. They didn't have that stuff when I used to drink.
I know, man. Only in the last couple of years.
Going through the same shit as my dad. My dad used to go to the liquor store, the beer store, and be just blown away like a kid at the toy store. Like, they didn't have all this great stuff when I drank, and now I'm finding myself do the same thing. The compilation, it was really cool, and people don't really know too much about it. It's probably on the is it on your Bandcamp page?
Yeah, it's on there. Okay,
so but it's not on the streaming sites. Either are the Canned Chicken demos, which I think are really great songs too. I'm wondering if the people in streaming platform land will ever get a chance to hear those tunes, or if it's just Bandcamp only.
Well, you gotta, as I've alluded to, keep a little mystery intact. Like, so what I'll say is that no, probably not. There'll be a few that you'll only be able to find through a real inside line.
Is it fair to say, though, that you used to have a real problem with the streaming platforms, and that's why those records aren't up there?
Well, as you know, I that's how that was my MO, that the streaming thing.
You were adamantly against it.
Yeah.
And you came around.
And part of me still is, but I don't want to spend time on it,
But what changed your mind? Like, what made you put the record up to get to Know Lonesome?
Well,
you're just
globalization.
That's the official answer. Globalization.
Yeah. Well, in a post-perestroika political environment. No, I digress. I'm glad I did. At first I put up 3 songs on streaming.
Oh, right.
I didn't have a clue.
Yes.
I didn't have
I forgot about that. Yeah.
I put 3 songs, and then Dreamin' was starting to have success, and it's like, oh yeah.
And totally by chance. Like, you didn't pitch that song to anyone.
No, I had no idea what I was doing.
That's great.
And then figured out how to put the rest up. A friend of mine helped me, and it's like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Streaming has a place, will always have a place now in in the consumption of music, and that's fine. But I'd like it if everyone would allow a small place in their hearts for physical formats of every kind.
And you have CDs of Palace waiting, like right now at your house.
Yeah, I got CDs. Yep, they're printed in Sweden, but they play on.
But they'll play here in Canada.
But they play on my unit here in the garage.
Well, sometimes you play to a packed house, and other times you play to the tables and chairs. And I wish you all the luck with the release and with the subsequent tour dates, especially going all the way over there to Germany and Sweden. I think that's great, man.
Thanks, buddy.
It's a good record, and where can people find it, and where can people buy shit from you?
They're best to buy it on Bandcamp through me in North America and Europe. You can buy it through Sound Asleep Records.
Well, I haven't done many interviews lately, and that's my performance here this evening shows. But it's been 30 episodes, and finally here. I mean, you have something worth talking about new. So thank you for taking the time. And maybe you haven't been interviewed on the show, but you've appeared in every episode at the very end. Do you know that? Yeah,
I do, buddy. I've listened to most, and
I don't expect
a sincere pat on the back to you for digging up all this treasured Canadian country music that without you maybe would have gone maybe would have laid to waste. I don't know.
It's lost.
You've been archival.
I'm trying. Thank you. I'm trying, and there's some more folks that I need to track down and talk to. I think some of them are skeptical, or they don't know. Anyways, I'm trying to find some more. Some more. They're hard to find. And I've talked to some folks that are like, in their 70s or early 80s, and some of them remembered so much great stuff. So yeah, it was really good. There's some good stuff there.
I've loved so many of those episodes, and so a sincere head nod to you.
And you finish everyone, every episode, the phone rings and, hello or whatever, you say hello. And then I say, what do you got for me?
It's been so great. And I hope this isn't the last episode. I hope you're not just you're not tricking me here.
No. But I want to put you on the spot before we wrap this up. So what have you got for me?
Well, bro, I prefer to remain only gently self-aware.
I can accept that. I can accept that. Thanks, man. Hey, I know I texted you about this earlier, and I should have mentioned it like 30 minutes ago. But the last interview with Carter, I debuted a song from the record before it was released, and here we are chatting a week and a half before your record comes out. So maybe we can debut a song here from the new record. Right now. Is that cool for you?
Yeah, of course. Do you have one in mind?
We gave Hey Who's Counting a lot of energy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't you play Cutting Off All Ties? I like the guitar interplay on this one.
It's a beautiful country music song.
Thanks, pal.
Thanks for taking the time here to chat with me. I know you've got a lot going on all the time.
Oh, it feels that way.
Yeah, that's the way she goes now.
Yeah.
I'm part of it.
You are now, my
Card
friend.
carrying.
And congratulations.
Thanks,
yes.
pal. It's good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too, buddy.
Well, friends, I hope that you enjoyed my chat with Skinny Dyck. Thanks to Ryan for taking the time to join me on the podcast. Listen to Skinny Dyck's albums most places that you stream music for a nominal monthly fee, or check him out at skinnydyck.com, or go support at skinnydyck.bandcamp.com. Follow along with the Northern Report Spotify playlist to hear music from the folks that I've covered here on the podcast, as well as back in the Honky-Tonk Times columns. Remember to subscribe, like, follow, share, tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell your mom, leave a rating for the Northern Report. It goes a long way for the podcast, and I certainly do appreciate you taking a time to do so. Our logo was created by Boots Graham. Music on the show today courtesy of Sean Burns and Lost Country, The Divorcees, and Skinny Dyck. From local legends to regional stars to the cream of the Canadian crop, you're going to find it all here on the Northern Report. Thanks for tuning in, friends, and stick around for the world premiere of Cutting Off All Ties from Skinny Dyck and his new EP, Palace Waiting.
I've got a woman always on my mind. When I look back at her, she's behind me, waiting on a dream as it dries. She's not leaving me, she's cutting off all ties. Imagine my surprise, cutting off all ties. Couldn't stand the thought of saying goodbye. She's free to leave. I wonder where should
go. There's this woman, I'll play make-believe. It got away, now it's cornered me. Wait for it to set, then to rise. Not just leaving me, she's cutting off all ties. Imagine my surprise, cutting off all ties. Couldn't stand the thought of saying goodbye. Now I'm free to leave. I wonder where I'll go.